The year was 1987. Yeah, back in those days, weed was like a hard commodity to get your hands on. And then all of a sudden there'd be a whole ton of it coming in seasonally. And a lot of us found our tribe. What we did was we found out who liked to smoke weed and we became friends. And that way you had a network to try to find the weed when weed wasn't around. So it was always a Friday night at school, like who's gonna be where are the parties, and more importantly, who's got the weed. And I was in this joint circle in 1987, and it was a few of us got together and we rolled up this beautiful, we used to call it the good earth. The good earth is dirt weed, my friend. That means it was just trash. It was outdoor grown, had lots of, I called it lumber. Lots of sticks and seeds, and maybe you got a little weed and you paid 40 bucks for a 4-finger ounce. That was my era. Today you guys have access. You have access to good quality herbs, whether it's at dispensaries or from a friend or someone you know that grows. So I was in the circle smoking a joint with some friends, and this kid, this tall blonde haired kid, his name was Jeff. He was from Colorado, it turns out. And I was just smoking the swag, and it's burning the back of your throat, and it tastes like trash. It gives you a headache. You take the biggest hit you can because you only knew you were getting one hit, because once it went around the circle, it was a roach by the time maybe if it got back to you. So you took the biggest hit you could and you held it as hard as you could, and you turned purple practically trying to get that one hit to get you high. It wasn't going to work. And I just said, this shit sucks. I should grow my own. And I just said that, and this kid, he says, dude, do you have a place? And I was like, well, yeah, what do you mean? Well, I got a place. Yeah, I just got married. I got my kid. I'm 22 years old. And he said, actually, I was 23, actually. It was, yeah, 23 years old. Got married at 22. And he said, dude, I'll call my mother and she'll ship me my lights. And I'm like, what? What do you mean you're going to call your mother? He goes, dude, I'm from Colorado. Everybody grows. And I'm like, okay, cool. 2 weeks later, my beeper goes off. I know what you're saying. Some of you are going like, Dad, what's a beeper? We always wore these little communication devices called beepers on our hips because it would give you a phone number, and then you go to a payphone. Those that are hustlers know what I'm talking about. You went to the payphone and called up the number and said, hey, what's up? What do you need? And so it turns out to be Jeff Brown from Colorado, and he goes, dude, I got my lights, you ready to go? And I'm like, hold on, I gotta talk to my wife about growing some pot in the house, which is gonna be illegal. And that's where it all got started, my friends. And here we are, playing with the sacred plant. Now with this grow here, this was not planned. These are not my plants. These are someone else's plants. Someone else started these. And I was like, at first, the first group of plants that showed up was a friend that had a problem. I'm like, I gotta help a buddy out. And now, this is a new property to me. So I've just moved in. I've been here about 30 days. And I know people in the comment, why aren't you growing it in the earth? I get it, I get it. This is new space. You've got to find out the situation. You got to find out who your neighbors are. Are they cool? Are they going to be chill about you growing some weed out in their backyard? And it turns out I have some awesome neighbors here. This is great. So things are starting to gel. They're starting to come together. And when it comes to growing in the earth, you've got to find out what are the earth conditions where you're going to grow. There's also important to understand this. Cannabis is a bioaccumulating plant. So if I decide I want to grow in the earth here, I don't know if there's contamination here. I don't know what was here previously, so I want to do a little history search. This was probably an old farmhouse once in the day, and I don't know if this is a dumping ground. This is where they throw all their crap, lead, all sorts of problems can be in the earth. And because cannabis and hemp, by the way, and I've said this 40 years ago, that hemp would save the earth. It cleans the soil because it accumulates everything, heavy metals, all of it. That's why at the dispensary level, when they're growing it, they have to have it tested for heavy metals, for all sorts of problems and contaminations. And that's why it's important if you're growing under OMRE, which is a standard for organic growing, that your soils are clean. They're the heavy metals are at the minimal amounts. And so it's important to understand that the plant accumulates, it cleans the soil. It also cleans the air. It's the best plant on earth for carbon sequestering, right? So it draws in carbon dioxide. You know this stuff I'm putting out right now, this breath is full of carbon dioxide. That plant goes, give it to me, I love it. It takes it in as a food source, through the stomata, which is the pores underneath the leaf that regulate the plant. So as the plant wakes up, which right now about 7 in the morning, the plants are beginning to wake up. I'm going to bring you for a little tour. We're going to talk about them a little bit, and I'm going to share some information that might be beneficial to you. But it cleans the air, cleans the soil. And it turns out the resins that are on the leaf surface are what we get enjoyment from. So we're really growing resin. We're growing the plant material, the leaf itself. And I used to say to Jeff Brown back in the day, hey Jeff, can't just, I was desperate for weed. Can't I just snap a few plant leaves off the bottom and just dry them out in the toaster oven and smoke them? He goes, no man, those won't get you high. I'm like, wait a minute, that's pot. It's pot. It's supposed to get you high. And he goes, no man, it's the crystals and the resins on, what are you talking about? Now, remember, I come from a place in a time where everything was grown outdoors. It was pressed. Whoa, my phone was sliding right off of my little stand here, so apologies. Hold on, let me fix you guys up so that you can see me. You know what it is? It's my little stand. All right, there we go. It's probably a little crooked. Let me fix this up for you guys. I'm a one-take guy. I don't like to do do-overs, takeovers, and editing, all that crap. I don't have time for that. My life is busy. I'm a business consultant, and I consult in cannabis, and I consult in traditional business. I've owned over 14 companies over my career, so I understand business. And it started out in the hustle, the early days of the hustle. When you learn the hustle, that's just business. Finding somebody that has and somebody that wants, and you get in the middle. That's the hustle, right? And that's what life is full of hustles, all types of hustles. And it's not a bad way, it's a good way. It's a matter of finding someone that wants and someone that needs and someone that has, and then you coordinate that. That's the hustle. So back to the story, I started to realize, Jeff said, no, the leaf doesn't get you high. There's resins on top. I had never seen resins because our stuff was brown, pressed, outdoor. It was just bundled up and imported and smuggled in and stuff like that. So I didn't realize it wasn't the leaf that got me high, it was the resins on top. And it's real simple. And I think, Marcus Richardson out of BC, Columbia, Bubble Man's World, he pointed out, and I loved his analogy, is that he said, it's like a pizza box. There's pizza inside, and you open it up and eat the goodness, right? Well, the leaf is like the pizza box. It's the delivery. It's where the resins reside on top of the leaf and in the flower and in the bract. Those resins are designed to protect from sunlight, the UV light, and from bugs, because the plant wants to regenerate, and that's what we're in, regeneration. So let's go take a look, guys. I'm going to talk some more about it, and hopefully you pick up some nuggets of gold that serve you for a lifetime. All right, so let's grab the selfie stick and collapse it a little bit so that I can get you guys so not so wobbly. All right, so you're gonna see my shadow here. You can see it's early morning. We got a nice beautiful sunrise coming up. Just a couple of residual clouds left over. Look at that, I got an audience up in the trees. They're going like, hey, who's a funny dude talking about weed over there? There they are, right there. Whole group of birds just hanging out going, all right, let's watch this cat. All right, so let's get into it, guys. Now you can see, let me go over to these ones in this area here, because you can still see all the wetness on the leaf surface. And what I do each morning is I come out and I walk the plants. I take a good look. You can see all that moisture there. That's dew from the overnight, because we had warm days and cool nights. And what happens is these plants, you're gonna see it here, they just get covered with moisture. Wow. So it doesn't necessarily have to rain for your buds to have a challenge, because as these flowers thicken up and as they get more and more dense, that moisture that you see right there is going to sit deep inside of that thick bud of yours. And that's where the real challenge comes in, is trying to figure out, were these genetics good for outdoors or not? Now, remember, I got to remind you people, these are not my plants. These structures were started by somebody else. The manipulations were started by somebody else. I didn't do this manipulation down in here. Someone else did. So this was, this particular batch is from a new grower. He's been growing for about a year. So his technique, he's learning. And again, I'm not gonna, this is no judgment. This is a matter of, hey, you try it, do it, see if it works for you. But remember, this is a game of patience. You have to have patience when you're growing cannabis. There is no hurry. If you're in a hurry, go to the dispensary and go buy some fucking weed. But if you want to grow your own and have it for a lifetime, like I have, I'm not bragging, but I've never been into a dispensary to buy weed. Never. No need. I have more weed than I know what to do with. I got plenty. I have my own supply. Because Jeff from Colorado blessed me with a little bit of base information and got me bit by the growing bug, and I never gave up. Now, there's periods of time where I took breaks and stuff like that. Everybody does. And you just need a little breather, because when you decide to grow cannabis, you've just got a puppy. That means you got to take care of it. You got to check on it. You've got to feed it. You got to make a small investment. You got to buy some tools. You know what I mean? So there's all sorts of stuff. And I think you're going to enjoy this fall and this winter time, because I've got a whole bunch of educational videos planned for you guys. So if you want to join me for this ride, I'm about to light it up. And I've done it over the years. I've taught a lot of people how to grow. And I run classes. I actually teach people how to grow cannabis. Now, there's a lot of growers that grow cannabis that don't even consume it, but they really enjoy growing the plant. It's magical. And the medicinal benefits, they love and enjoy the fact that how it helps people. You know, once you learn how to use this medicinally, it's just absolutely amazing, especially when you age. When you start to get older, it's about aches and pains and stresses and can't sleep and all sorts of stuff that you have to deal with. But this plant has medicinal properties that are very beneficial. But when you're choosing outdoors, and this is one of the questions I had, is like, well, what do you choose if you were going to grow and these were yours? Well, that's a great question. It depends on a couple of factors. Number one, for the last 6 years or so, I've been working on developing new genetics, meaning crossings of different genetics. I like to call it old school meets new school, and I've been working on that for quite some time. And so my focus has been on seed production, not for sale. I don't sell seeds. It's really to try to discover something that's rare and unique that nobody else has. And I have created some unicorns, I like to call them, some really nice crosses that, like, wow. But you guys will see that whole project unfold this winter, because I'm going to be doing some more breeding projects. I'll be teaching you how to set up, you know, your own little grow in your own house, because I'm going through it right now. This is a new space for me. So I've got to set up a grow space. It's going to be done in the basement. I got an area picked out, and I'm going to put up some tents. I'm going to make a main room, and I'm going to keep it as simple can be, so that you guys at home that are just starting out aren't overwhelmed with, like, I can't afford that stuff. And we're going to do it on a budget. We're going to do it with good quality equipment. We may even have some sponsors. I've had some large companies, well-known brands, I'm not going to mention their names till I have a contract, but they're saying, hey, we'll sponsor you. Okay. Now, I'm not about the commercial thing of it, but if somebody will help me with the cost of equipment so that I can teach you guys, yeah, I'm all about that. I can use that benefit, right? Because otherwise I got to spend my own money, and if I can get somebody to support me, I'm going to teach it. So I'll share this knowledge with you guys. So when it comes to picking the genetics for New England, okay, where I'm located is New England. So people are like, where are you from? Oh, it's Massachusetts. There you go. Boom, disclosure. I'm basically, I'm just in the Boston area. It's right south of Boston. So, I have warm days, cold nights, and we have a lot of dew, and we have storms, and it's challenging here in New England. So when you're picking outdoors, I would say you want to try to source from maybe growers that have been doing it for 20 years outdoors in the New England area, like, Vermont, Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut. There's a lot of good growers out there that have developed genetics that do well in the Northeast, that are resistant. We call it mold resistant, like powdery mildew, botrytis, all these mold issues that are an issue. And then bug problems too on top of it. So I like to say, okay, if you look at the genetic code, you say, I'm looking for stuff that's maybe a sativa leaner. Right? We call them leaners now because everything's muddled, hybridized, so crossings, The landrace thing is like, okay, yeah, it's a landrace. Well, you touched it. It's cultivated variety. That's what Kevin Jodrey says. And he's right. He's factual, right? All right, so back into the plants themselves, this morning inspections I'm walking through the other day, if you guys have watched the videos. And here's the other thing, I'd like to suggest this to you guys, because I get comments on stuff that, I'm like, why are they asking that? Or why are they making that statement? I'm like, oh, right, this is like number 14 on the videos. I numbered the videos so you could go back and start from the beginning, right? It's like you jumping into a movie series, in the middle of it and going, what's going on? Why are they doing that? It's like, fuck. Go back and watch the first one and work your way up. Binge on it if you want. And it starts with the base story of how these plants found me. They find you. So yesterday I had another group that wanted to come visit. I'm like, no, sorry, I'm tapping out, not gonna do it, not gonna do it. Look away, Joe, look away. It was hard, like, I'm like, oh man, I could use those genetics. But anyways, we had caterpillars. So I found a caterpillar and then immediately I started spraying BT, which is Bacillus thuringiensis subspecies. It's a bacteria that you apply to the leaf surface, and as the caterpillar begins to chew and eat the leaf, gets into its digestive system and disrupts it and basically stops them from feeding. You know, that bacteria grows in their gut and kills them. And this was the plant right here that had it. Let me zoom in for you guys, and you'll see it was right in this space right here. The lighting's not so good. Let me see if I can get it from the other side. Okay. Okay, it was right in that section there. It started to eat it, and now it's gone. I left it there purposely so I could show you guys. So there's just a tiny bit of damage from where it chewed, but it's going to start to recover. It's almost like it's topped it almost. Let me see if there it is, right in there. No, yeah, that's it. Right in that section right there. All right, so I don't see anything. I went through and I walked and I looked at all the plants. I do that every morning. It's almost like you become familiar with every little bud site, because those buds are going to be yours if you take care of them. And this is where the time and attention comes into play, is to really look at these. You can see all this wetness on the leaf surface. That's going to be an issue when we get into flowerings. These things are going to thicken up, and these are going to become dense buds here. And that's where I run into the problems. Now, right now, and there was another question that was posed on one of the videos, I don't know which one, but, you know, do you use neem oil? I said, I like neem oil. Neem oil is good. I've used neem oil many times in the past. It's inexpensive, so it's a good resource, and it's natural. It comes from the neem tree. Azadirachtin, by the way, is another product that's extracted from the neem seed. Azadirachtin is a growth inhibitor, antifungal. So it's used in, you know, I like to use azadirachtin if I have an issue with thrips. It seems to work really well. It stops them from growing up and it disrupts them. It's a growth disruptor basically for them. And that's all natural, by the way. So yeah, neem oil's good, except now what's happening is neem is okay to apply. It's thick. It's not my preferred go-to. So if I'm on a budget, yeah, I'll use it if I'm on a budget, and I'm just like, I can't afford anything else because some of the other oils are expensive. Yeah, I'll use it as a resource to help protect the plants. The key is when you're applying any product is hit underneath first. The leaves, underneath the leaves is where the veins are. That's where the plant, the bugs will go. So I'll just take a leaf if I think there's a problem. Let me just show you this if I can get good lighting. I take a leaf, and if I'm inspecting it, without snapping it off, I just roll it between my fingers like this. It's real simple, just roll it so you can look underneath. Now you want to use a loop, jeweler's loop, or just a magnifying loop. They have different types. So if you think you're having a problem, and the signs will show up on the leaf surface, you flip it over, and you'll notice when you get in real close, you'll see all the veins, all right? You see the main vein up the middle, which is the main part of that leaf, and then the offshoots, those are the veins too. The bugs bite in there and they suck the juice out of it, the xylem. So that's a food source for them, and you'll see the marks on top of the leaf surface. I don't see any now to point out to you guys, but I'm sure I will run into it in the future and we'll be able to identify it. But the leaf talks to you. So once you learn to read the leaf, that's most of the battle, is you're saying, okay, what is it doing? Is it happy? Is it tacoing? Is it praying? Is it got tip burn? Has it got any issues like that? So just look at the leaf. The leaf talks to you, man. That's the love language of the cannabis plant. She's going to talk to you, but you have to pick it up. Now, I don't know if you guys can see this in this camera, probably not, but there's all types of spider webs here. And this is why when you come out in the morning, you'll see them. Get rid of them, because it's a highway for them. And if you leave them there, you're leaving all these different highways for these bugs to keep, working your plant, and it'll be covered with spider webs. And you don't want to allow that. So whenever you see that, get rid of it. But the key is look at your plants daily, look at each bud site practically. I get it, some of you have a busy life, but do your best. Try to give it some time, because if you don't, energy in equals energy out. That means if you're not paying attention, this is when you run into problems, and your plant is not going to give you the best results you're hoping for. Look at it, it's starting to taco, it's praying up, it's starting to hit the sun. I see some what do you call it, spider webs there. Now the other thing I do is I like to turn my plants at least a half a turn each day, or quarter turn, depending on where their sun angle is. What happens is it grows more evenly. Sorry guys, I'm trying to do this one-handed. So if you just take and turn them, they get even balance of sunlight. These ones need to get transplanted. I just haven't had the time. But today I'm going to be going out. I'm getting my car detailed today. Can't wait for that. Not to have a nice, fresh, clean, organized vehicle. It reflects what's going on in your mind. If your mind's organized, you're organized. Take a look at your car today. If you look over in the passenger seat, is that your trash barrel? Is that floor your trash barrel? Come on, be honest. It is, isn't it? It's where you throw your trash. Look behind your back seat. Is it disorganized? Your dashboard dirty? Your windows dirty? All right, here's a little secret I'm gonna tell you right now, okay? When you get yourself organized in your environment, and it takes effort, when you stay organized, your mind starts to function more efficiently. Yeah, I know you know where everything is. I used to be that guy too. Well, I know exactly where that piece of paper is. Yeah, it's in the stack, like the fourth stack over there in the corner. But I know where it is, because your mind is always tracking it subconsciously. Get organized, man. Organize yourself. Just look at your car. It'll reflect. If you get in your car and it's organized, it's clean, that means your mind is organized too. Just saying. I'm not judging. I'm just saying, if you want better, you want more results in your life, make a few changes. Get organized. All right, so let's look at the structure here. This is nice. We talked about this in one of the videos, and we talked about the manipulation. So I'm going to point out a few things. I left this plant specifically in a structure so that I could use it for educational purposes. This is for educational purposes only. This is not medical advice or legal advice. I'm just a guy growing pot in the backyard. All right, so this structure here is just a single top. I didn't cut it. However, what I did do is I manipulated it by pulling it down. So you can see this stake goes in at an angle, and I pulled this main branch from way down over there. I pulled it over for an LST, low stress training, and by doing so, these nodes down in here are now going to become tops. Okay, these are all nice bud tops. And if you see down inside of this section, these are smaller because they stay underneath the canopy here. These leaves become like umbrellas. So this will form like a big collar up here as this gets bigger and bigger. So we're just beginning the stretch period right now. So for the next 2 weeks or so, you're going to see that these things are going to go boom. And I'll point out to some of the, the different ones, like there's a big tall one over there that keeps getting taller. That's probably going to be, I'm going to guess it will probably be 12 feet, 10 feet maybe. We'll see how it comes out. But I didn't top this one. I kept it whole and I let it keep going. So it's just going to keep getting thicker and thicker and thicker. A few of these other ones, like this one here, I didn't do any pinching. I did LST, pushed it open, get more benefit. When you do LST, pushing it, pulling it down, or using the little tie method that I did over here by pulling down with this method, you can do that. That's another technique of doing it, but the poles work well too. Pull them open, get more light into the inner canopy. Now, let's take a look at some of the ones that I did manipulate, like this one right here. That little nub right there is where I pinched it off, okay? I did a gentle topping. Now I had a viewer say, well, why you only topped it once? And why didn't you do more? And I thought that was a great question. All right, so for topping and pinching, it's really about plant structure, the type of plant it is. Like some of them, like this one over here, the blue zushi, I didn't top that at all because it was so dense and thick that I didn't want to drive more lateral growth. I need to drive upward growth. So I had to thin that out quite a bit because it was thick. And if you don't, I can see the future because I've rode this train a few times. So I know where the stops are, bro. I'm telling you, I know where they are. They suck because they get bud rot and you lose your grow and you get all pissed off and you put all this time and energy and next thing you know you got no weed at the end. It hurts. It's all about preparation and timing and understanding. So here's what happened was, because I didn't start these structures from the beginning, which next year you'll get to see that. I'll do some seed starts and I'll do some clones and I'll do some breeding. I'll teach you guys, if you're interested in how to do a reversal, how to reverse the plant and make its feminized pollen. You spray a silver thionite on it, it blocks the ethylene production in the leaf structure, stresses the plant, and it creates its own pollen sacs, male pollen sacs that are void of the Y chromosome. So if it's void of the Y chromosome, now you only have an X chromosome, so the pollen is feminized. So everything that gets hit by that pollen is going to produce feminized seeds. Now that doesn't mean they're going to be stable. Doesn't mean you're not going to get hermaphrodites. That's where the breeding comes in, where you have to do some stress testing and back crossing and all sorts of stuff. But back to this. This structure here, I didn't want to do multiple toppings because number one, it slows down the growth of the plant. It stalls it a little bit. And it already had been manipulated multiple times. And so I didn't want to add additional stress and I like the structure. So reading the structure of the plant is important. Like this one, I was like, okay, I could probably do some tipping, but it was way too thick. So I didn't want to drive lateral growth. I'd rather let it see it come up. So I had to do some thinning on that one too. But back to this one, you can see right in here, right there is where, right where my pointer finger is where the nub is. Hopefully you guys can see that. Yeah, I think you can right in there. But anyways, but now you can see, ooh, this one smells like pine tree. Ooh. You ever do a stem rub? Oh man, if you haven't done a stem rub, do that if you have some plants. Do that and give it a whiff. God, it smells good. It kind of gives you a hint, you know, you smell certain things, it goes, oh, that reminds me of pine trees. Yeah, that's a terpene, by the way. Terpenes modulate the effect of the cannabinoid profiles, just saying. All right, so now by pinching, I got two tops right here, boom, boom. And then I've got a lot of lateral growth driving out. So it's like a Christmas tree structure right there, as you can see, which is nice. No pinch, no Christmas tree structure, but LST, I get the nodes coming up that way. This way, they're coming out this way. I'll let that do its thing. No pinch, one big bud, great. But if I pinch it, I get two tops and I have more lateral growth. So this is a manipulation to help me get a better yield, meaning the more flower sites I have, the more buds I'm going to have at the end. Now, we don't know how good it's going to be. We don't know if it's going to mold. I mean, there's all sorts of shit that we have to be aware of. But looking at the structure is important. Inspecting your plants. They're starting to dry off right now. The other thing I'm working on now, I just had somebody give me a battery-operated blower, and it says, not working. I'm just going to toss it out. And I'm like, whoa, hold on a minute. See, I'm a fixer. I come from an era where when you grow up poor, you learn to survive. You fix shit. You don't just toss shit out. You take it apart and find out what part of it is not working, what failed, and fix the fucking thing. So you guys will probably see a video of me taking that apart and trying to figure out if I can fix it or not. If I can't fix it, yeah, okay, I couldn't fix it. But it's usually something inside that, you know, a wire fell off or something shorted out or something got overloaded. But I have experience with electronics and all sorts of stuff. I'm a car guy at heart. I love cars, motorcycles, fast things. I like fixing stuff, but I also like growing stuff, as you can see here. All right, guys, so I brought you through a little tour around. We looked at some of these plants. We didn't spend a lot of time on every one of them. Here's a nice LST structure right here. You can see where I did a real heavy bend. I just bent the whole main thing right over. And by bending this over, these lower nodes became much bigger and pronounced in their tops now. So this is another, again, manipulation of an LST because of the structure that I had to work with. Every one of these has a little different structure to them. They were not my plants. Let me say that again. I did not start these plants. These were somebody else's plants. I am a caregiver. I'm tending to these. So plants have a way of finding you. They've done that for me all my life. And also, just to throw this out there, When it comes to seeds, I've only purchased 2 packages of seeds in my career of growing cannabis. I had learned how to make seeds years and years and years ago because I had to. I didn't want to order through High Times magazine and have something delivered to my house and bring attention to my property. So I just figured out how to make seeds. And the first pack of seeds I ever bought was in 2013 because a guy needed some money, needed some help. So I spent $100, bought some regular seeds, and I made about 10,000 seeds and gave a lot of them away to students and to people that wanted to grow. It was a real easy one to work with, so I said, oh, I'll make a whole bunch. I still have 5 seeds from that original purchase. And then recently, I just made a purchase through Todd McCormick, which he runs a seed company out of California, AG Seed Co. And he has the original old school genetics, and that's my realm. He's a real cool cat. He's a character in cannabis, an activist, has an amazing story. But I reached out and said, hey, I want to get some old school. So I bought Purist Indica. That was the second purchase I've ever made. And that was actually the one I wanted to make. The first one was to help a guy out. The second one is for me to get original code going back in time to the original days. And I'm going to take that and grow it out and harvest pollen, full male pollen, not feminized pollen. I'll harvest that and then I'll start crossing it with some of these new school plants. Not these particular ones, but I'm going to be looking for 2 unique genetics, and I'm going to call that project Old School Meets New School. And we'll see what comes out. It could be something interesting. Look at this thing. This thing is starting to take off. This is, all right, so that's over 6 feet now. I would say that's probably about 6'5". And you can see the bracts are forming. You can see the hairs. Let me get you guys right in there. See that bract right there? That's where a seed would grow if that got pollinated. But you can already see the die-off on some of these pistils in the bract. They're turning brown and red right there. Let's see if I can get this. Very difficult because the sun's shining into my eyes, so I can't see the screen of my cell phone. Let me see if I can find that bract for you guys. Where is it? It's in there somewhere. I think it's right there. Okay, cool. All right, guys, I gotta get going. I'm gonna do one little spray this morning with some of the BT that's left. I'm gonna get that on the leaf surface. Oh, wait a minute, no, I sprayed that yesterday. That's right, I finished that yesterday. Yeah, so today is just an inspection morning. I'm gonna let these things do their thing. I'm gonna get the spider webs off, which I see one right now. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Probably not, but it's right there. When you see them, get rid of them. Get rid of those highways. All right, I can sit here and talk all day about cannabis, but it started with Jeff back in the day in a joint circle. And he says, I'll show you how to do it. And I'm like, let's do it. And I'm always learning. I like to read the comments and shout out. Tell me where you're from. And if you've got a grow going on, love to hear it. Anyways, guys, more spider webs. All right, it's time to get rolling, my friends. Let's go grow some pot. And as always, may those resins bless your bowl today. Live in peace, happiness. Don't forget, sharing is truly caring. See you.